Welcome to our webinar, Data Storytelling for Portfolio Leaders, Turning Work Data into Business Insights. If you enjoy this topic, please explore our YouTube channel for more videos and follow us on LinkedIn to be in the know for event announcements and speaking engagements. Presenting today's discussion is OnePlan's Jose Levy.
And thanks everyone for joining today to talk about data storytelling for portfolio leaders. This is a interesting topic that is of great importance as we try to define the value of strategic portfolio management within our organizations. So as always, I like to go back into history and see exactly where we started. And it's an interesting topic. It actually has a 239-year history. Probably we can go back to ancient times about data storytelling through pictures and hieroglyphics. But in more modern times, the science came to be in a noted book written in 1786, the Commercial and Political Atlas, that had bar charts and pie charts as we currently manage them within our presentations. You can see how the science of data analysis has evolved over time. I list John Tukey because he's a mathematician and statistician that added a lot to the field. He's actually also known for creating the term bit, by the way, which is an interesting factoid. Edward Tufte published Visual Display of Quantitative Information around the same time. It's interesting here, dating maybe some of the participants here. I wish I could take a poll on this, but Lotus 123 comes out in 1983. Excel comes out in 1985, which are really the first spreadsheets that allowed graphical representations of data. So interesting that around the same time, the data storytelling is becoming more formal. And since then we have evolved with a number of different technologies and applications and tools in order to provide data visualization. They're used in every organization to render data and tell a story of what the data is actually telling us. There's plenty of data storytelling resources, by the way. When I went and did some background research on this, I'm amazed at how much is actually out there available for everyone to benefit and learn how to actually do this well. So it's a well-covered field within data and analytics. There's a ample set of resources everywhere. I just listed here a sampling, by the way, not particular preference to the schools listed or the books shown and the LinkedIn page that's shown. It's something that if you wanted to become good at it, there's resources available for you to focus on it. And it's growing. It's a growing field now because we have now AI, big data, and real-time analytics that are available to leverage and render information. So, as a foundation element to this webinar, why is data storytelling? Why does it matter to SPM, strategic portfolio management? Well, it's evident that data alone is ineffective without context. We really need to tell the story through visualizations in order to bridge that gap between the raw data that we're showing and the strategic decisions. And what we're trying to accomplish is really to drive the stakeholder into action. And that's usually an improved decision that they have to make on a particular data point or element of our strategic portfolio. It's usually a trade-off of choice A, choice B in order to get to a future state. And what we're trying to do is really avoid poor decisions based on assumptions, bias, and disengagement. An interesting stat: 80% of managers in organizations now manage portfolios or manage digital transformation. Put it in that sense. Digital transformation, initiatives that involved technology transformation. So at the same time, a lot of them are saying that they're not getting the results they want from expected from that digital transformation, and a lot of it has to do with the inability to understand information and understand the trade-off. So here's an opportunity for portfolio leaders, the PMO in particular, to play a critical role in making that bridging that gap. Now, at the same time, business leaders are saying that the data storytelling is a critical skill for their teams. They want to understand better the data they're seeing in the strategic portfolio. At the same time, though, even though the PMO is aware, not a lot of PMOs are actually using the techniques, and that is probably the case because we're relying on a lot of the out-of-the-box reporting. We're running around, managing our PMO, managing the projects, the initiatives, the portfolios, and not spending enough time on developing data storytelling techniques and better visualizations for our management, for our leadership teams. So it's definitely an area of improvement for PMOs. Now, what could you be doing? Well, the first is really assess and build data skills across the PMO team. So really focus on the literacy of the PMO team with respect to the data, and then how to use the data, which takes us to our third point, which is really leverage data and analytics initiatives that you might have internally and resources that you might have internally. We unfortunately find that in a lot of cases, those resources are overwhelmed in organizations, so the PMO doesn't have a lot of access to them. We bridge that gap for them through our services, but it's something that can probably be improved. If you're undertaking a PMO initiative and a PMO implementation of an SPM system, you should have a data analytics team member assigned to the PMO. It's critical because that's how you're actually going to get the output of the solution. Now, I skipped over the second one, but basically, what it's stating is, focus on training really your PMO team, even project managers, on how to best provide better visualizations and use of data storytelling. So, very simple definition here. We're looking at improving or having visualizations with narrative techniques to deliver insights so that our stakeholders, our leadership teams can consume them and then make better decisions. What you want is to elicit that discussion and collaborative decision making between everyone. So the first step is providing context. What exactly are we looking at? Is it relevant to our problem at hand? You have to create the visualization, which is actually being very good at using the tools that are available to you, and they don't have to be that sophisticated. It could be, as I'm going to show you, just using lists and knowing exactly how to tell the story of the data, which is really the narrative, and that's really what makes data storytelling. So I'm listing here just a simple framework. There are many frameworks. When I went into this subject, McKinsey has a framework. There's many expert frameworks that you could be looking at. The one here, just for illustrative purposes, we're using one provided by Gartner, which talks about the laying out the situation again, the context, providing the context. What are the implications? What is the data telling us? What is the proposed solution? What can we infer from it, and what can we do about it? And then what's the action that we're going to take, which is the outcome? What's the potential result? What's the future state of us taking that action? So pretty straightforward. I think most important is probably, the context, and then, looking at the effect of what you're looking at. What happens after that is really based on, leadership and how they view the situation and the options they want to take. And another aspect of this, adopt your own process and your own context within your organization. I mean, it could be that your culture dictates that you take a different route, but have somewhat of a series of steps for folks to understand, how to better provide the data visualization, tell the story, and then get to an action. So, what are some best practices as we move forward here from what we've seen so far? Well, we want to get away from just showing raw data, the standard raw data that we can provide on projects and portfolio and their status, which is fairly operational, and then get into what's driving value, what's driving the business outcome. We can never we can do more visuals, to connect the portfolio metrics to business strategy. I think that's really one of the drivers of strategic portfolio management, that you're looking at, the strategy execution, you're looking at the PMO, EPMO, and then you're looking at it also from an IT investment perspective. So being able to connect all those things is and show it in a compelling visualization is what is going to get you the most out of implementing strategic portfolio management. The third point there, data literacy and narrative skills within the PMO teams. This is probably something that I think in most cases within our customer base is something that can be done and is required. And it can be as simple as understanding the data set that we're looking at. And this goes to the core of an implementation, because you're defining the configuration and the custom field set, and it has to be relevant of value, and everyone should understand what the data set means. So it is begins in the first step of actually implementing an SPM solution. And then finally, what you want to do is drive that collaboration with your data analytics teams, so that you can have the required visualizations to drive that decision making by your leadership team. So working side by side with your experts in reporting and visualization within the organization. So OnePlan is a end-to-end strategic portfolio management platform that allows you to create those visualizations and understand what is actually going on in the three use cases of strategic portfolio management. You do not need any other tool to manage your projects and portfolios and programs. You can do it all within OnePlan. We do have connectors to a number of different work planning tools, as well as line of business systems, because that's one of the important elements. In order to be able to do data storytelling, you need to have data quality, which is another issue in itself in maintaining the strategic portfolio management solution. But suffice it to say that you have all of the required capabilities within OnePlan to to manage all the different elements and be able to tell the story of what's going on within your portfolios, your strategy, and your IT investments. I'm going to put here our end-to-end kind of big animal picture of the solution, and just to highlight that what we're trying to do when we do an implementation is basically map to your current and future state as you've defined it for every one of your process elements, process stages that you see here. Now, this is just a representation of our generic process steps. What we will do is actually tailor this to how you actually manage your portfolios and project strategy. And you can see that we have capabilities for every one of the different personas within the solution, from defining the strategy to actually planning the portfolio and deciding which elements are going to be included, both from a resource and financial standpoint, prioritization standpoint based on business value. We then get into the execution process step, which is where a project manager, a resource manager, a team member are going to be working. They're going to be, updating as work is accomplished and the benefits are obtained, business outcomes are defined and also realized. And then finally, we get into analysis. Now, this is where you're actually going to be doing your data storytelling, and OnePlan has a number of different features in order to accomplish that, from our list board roadmap views, as well as our Power BI reports, which you have complete and total control to make changes on. We provide out of the box report packs, but you have the ability to enhance them, or we can support you in enhancing them if needed. We have our visualizer, which is another visualization tool that actually allows you to see the relationships between all the different elements. And between all of these, you have the ability then to do your data storytelling, meet with leadership, define the changes that need to occur as you go through your strategic portfolio management lifecycle. I will state, because it's really important, and you will see it in the demonstration, that you have generative AI, Sophia GPT, which leverages Azure OpenAI in a private and secure manner in order to drive insights. And we'll do some data storytelling using Sophia GPT in a few minutes, so that you can see how you can leverage it in order to get the insights from what you're managing within OnePlan. So I want to make a point about how we actually have structured OnePlan, and some recent innovations that we've had actually allow OnePlan to be the single platform for portfolio owners across the enterprise. So from a top-down portfolio standpoint, you have an EPMO or a PMO that is managing the larger initiatives for the entire organization. There's typically a governance process that dictates how initiatives move through a life cycle, from ideation, inception, all the way through closure, delivery, even benefits realization management. At the same time, we have within the organization now, as I talked about earlier, 80% of managers are actually managing transformation initiatives, which means that you might have outside of an IT PMO, a business unit PMO, we're serving a large number of business unit PMOs right now, or department PMOs, functional PMOs. What that means is that there's a set of initiatives that are important to the organization. They're contributing to achievement of objectives, but they're being managed at a lower level, not at the highest level. So what you want to have is really that uniform governance, where even at the lower levels, you're able to align the entire organization on that cadence, and both from a reporting standpoint and a lifecycle standpoint. At the same time, that the specific portfolio area, which is the second point, you have very unique requirements. Specific portfolio area for a department or a business unit, or even an IT, will be very different than what it is in the PMO. And we give you the ability to actually have the best of both worlds, which is the hybrid approach, where you could be having that enterprise perspective of the portfolio and the governance, while at the same time giving the departments, business units, IT PMOs the flexibility to manage it the way they see, and have the ability to then roll it up to the enterprise. Also, and I think it's even more important, what's happening is that the lower department or business unit PMOs are working with themselves, in projects and initiatives that are impacting each other. So they need to see cross across the organization elements that impact their strategy and their individual OKRs from their unique perspective. In other words, we need to understand, if I'm in a business unit PMO, if there's other projects that might be impacting what I'm actually doing. From a product standpoint, think of it. There's marketing initiatives that might be impacting the product rollout. Well, I need to see, the progress of that, and I need to see, the impact that it might be having on my specific business unit product. So that's something that we've recently added to the solution, and I'll show in a second how you can leverage it again to tell the story of how different portfolios are being impacted by elements across the organization. So OnePlan, why it needs to be considered as your strategic portfolio management platform. First of all, it's robust. It lives within Azure, the Azure fabric. It's all Azure cloud. It has robust infrastructure and security. We've obtained our SOC 2 certifications, our ISO certifications, and we're very focused on making sure that we are the most secure platform. The way that we roll out the solution is through pre-built solution templates, and they're just starters that you make changes so that then you can build your own without custom development. So they're open, so that you can make changes to them and then adapt them to your specific context in your organization. We talked about data, and it's really data not only within OnePlan, but within other line of business systems that we might need to integrate in order to have a full picture. And that's where we provide a connector platform and APIs in order to drive the integration of that data into a single view of everything that's related to achieving your strategy through portfolio management. We've invested heavily in our workflows and notifications for process automation, so you don't need any other workflow engine. We do have integration with Power Automate, but if our workflow engine is sufficient to provide process automation, it's all within OnePlan, and it can drive your project and portfolio life cycles. I already talked about dashboards and reports. We're enhancing this even further, and we'll be having reporting directly within the tool. The primary reporting application is Power BI, and which we provide report packs out of the box that you can make changes to, and you can also create your own through our OData connections in our enterprise subscription. I talked about generative AI and our Sophia GPT capabilities, and I'll be highlighting them shortly. That's built in within the tool. If your organization prefers not to use it, you don't have to. We have the administrator has ways of not having the app and the capability, but most customers, because it's secure and it's sitting within your own data, and it's not training, and it's limited to the project portfolio management use cases, most customers seem to adopt it as part of the implementation. So I'll once more highlight our integrations, because this is becoming more and more important as we evolve strategic portfolio management. In the agile scenarios, adaptive portfolio management or lean portfolio management, we have the ability to integrate your agile planning tools. So most common being Azure DevOps and Jira, and that data in its structure and the way that it's managing Azure DevOps and Jira is brought into OnePlan and made part of your portfolios and your programs. The second, I would say, most important one is the financials. So when we're talking about bringing back actuals into OnePlan, because you can plan, your budget and forecast within OnePlan. If you're not managing the actuals directly, that data comes from your financial system. So usually in a phase 1 or phase 2, we will have a work stream for integrating scope for integrating your financial system through our connectors or through API, or there's actually in the realm of financial lines, there's multiple approaches. We do have connectors for the most common ERPs, but you know, if it's not available, we have mechanisms for bringing that data in. I would say the third is most common is other work management tools. And I would say that, you know, whether you're using the Microsoft Planner project for the web or Microsoft Project Desktop, all of those schedules, you know, all that work can be brought into OnePlan. We also have, you know, Smartsheet, Monday, and Asana as integrations in case you're using those also. The last one I'll highlight is really ServiceNow, because we're more and more integrating the ServiceNow. OnePlan has a better set of strategic portfolio management capabilities. So we have customers that are either starting projects, managing projects, or initiating projects, and having using OnePlan for, you know, different capabilities that we enhance, or, you know, basically using their IT service management capability of ServiceNow and using OnePlan for strategic portfolio management. All right, so before I go, I'm going to do a quick feature flash of a demonstration. I want to highlight the data storytelling in the context of the SPM lifecycle. So I'm referencing here Gartner's strategic portfolio management lifecycle, and you can see that it's got, you know, three main stages: strategy definition, strategic planning, and strategy execution. And I've highlighted some events. These are really the opportunities for you to exhibit your data storytelling capabilities. These are within the life cycle. I've highlighted a few of the events, you know, the ceremonies that you're going to have with your leadership. And this is really where, if you want to show, you know, your strengths in data storytelling, these are opportunities where you have to have either a set of reports, a set of visualizations, set of views that will encourage that discussion and the data storytelling steps that we talked about. You know, the first one is strategy definition. So, you know, I'll be going and looking at our OKRs and doing some analysis on the OKRs and seeing how they behave and how we might how they're behaving and how we might need to take action on some of them. There's the second step I'll go into is the demand management side, you know, where we actually are looking at initiatives that are aligned to goals and portfolio alternatives. I'll also get into prioritization in that step, but you know, that can go from demand management, you know, which is really the intake of new initiatives, all the way through, you know, the prioritization of initiatives that have already been approved. And then, you know, I'll go further into, you know, the portfolio analysis and the allocation. But the summary, the key takeaway here is that, you know, you have to use the events, you know, if it's your intake and demand, you know, monthly review, if it's your portfolio review with leadership, if it's your resource allocation review with internally, those are really the opportunities that you have to, you know, show the strength of data storytelling and, you know, develop really your reporting capabilities around those in order to drive, you know, better use of your SPM, strategic portfolio management solution, and really show the value of the PMO also, because that's part of the reason why we would exist. You know, it's to give the insights to leadership in order to make better decisions on directions to take with our initiatives. All right, so I think I'm going to now go to the demonstration. So I'm going to start in that first step of strategic planning. And we have here OnePlan within the My Strategy area. So the areas are defined list or capabilities that you know, address a specific specific domain. It could be, like I said, I showed earlier in the slide, it could be a department PMO, it could be applications, it could be, I'll show examples of this in a second. But there's a very simple list where we have our objectives and key results. So you can see here that I'm breaking down the objective and key result hierarchy that I have defined. And in very simple terms, I'm just showing the objectives and the key results that are associated with them. I have here my improved infrastructure OKR. That's the one that I'm going to be focusing on. But it can be just by enhancing, embellishing the view, we could be in a better position to make decisions. So here I have I've added basically manager in order to see if there's a manager involved with these. I could basically include any data field that I'm managing within the within my data set. These, by the way, and I think I've used the wrong field because it's actually lead that I need to include, but you can see here that this is the OKR form. So when we're defining our OKR, we have to make sure that we complete the required data, and we have the associated key results that I showed here. And let me go ahead and take this out because it's actually lead that I want to show. So I'll take manager off, but this is again the data quality and making sure that you have the right set of fields in order. So I can see here that the person that I have to, well, the person that owns this is Daniel Williams, and actually 2 of the 3 items are owned by Daniel Williams. So that's one interesting data point. The other thing I could do in order to enhance this, do we have dates defined for these? And again, this highlights what I was talking about earlier about data quality. So I'm going to go here and make this by quarter so I can see exactly when we're expecting the end, and I can gauge also when they're going to be making when we're going to be making impacts. If we have here, we have a prioritization score, so we've actually prioritized our OKRs. You can drive a prioritization score for the OKR. So this one is not the highest, but it's important enough. And another aspect of this that I could be looking at is, let me look at my visualization, my visualizer, in order to see how this objective is related. And this is really the picture that I want to see. How is this related to the rest of the enterprise elements that I've defined? Obviously, we saw first that I have the key results here, and that are driving the objective. And we can see that upgrade all network switch to support is is red. So from a usability standpoint, I can come in here and see exactly why the status is off track. I could be further going into the data set and seeing exactly why the key result is behaving the way it is, and then I could take action by going and leaving a comment for a colleague or the lead for this particular key result. And if I needed to look at it further, I could go into a report. Exactly, and this is kind of interesting. It doesn't seem to have been checked in, so this could be, it's an issue again on data quality. We have not had a check-in for some time on this, so we need to figure out exactly what's happening here. And again, I could take action. I could have actually had a notification that went through here. So that's again the workflow component of OnePlan. So I'm going to get back. We saw the relationship between the key result and the projects and epics that are driving it. So we have the key results and then the project. So data warehouse migration is the one that's most important here, and that seems to be doing okay. So what else could I be doing in order to tell the story on my strategy? So here's where I'm going to use Sophia GPT, and with the data that I have here, I could be invoking Sophia GPT, and I'll go ahead and start this because I was doing some early testing, and I'll go ahead and it should be pretty quick based on, but basically what I'm doing is using data story techniques, provide insights into strategic objectives, performance, importance, and budget, provide insights in a data table regarding feasibility of meeting the objectives and the percentage of total budget for each objective. So let's see the output that we get. And here we have Sophia GPT. It's pretty quick. So this is the essence of data storytelling. We have a table here, and it's telling us using criteria performance and importance, feasibility and budget allocation, estimating completion. We can see that what the ranking of our OKRs are, and we had seen this from the analysis earlier. Improve IT infrastructure and increase brand awareness are the two most important ones. And in terms of they're on track. And in terms of feasibility, objectives with high priority, generally allocated larger budgets, yes. You could be taking this and then making it part of the story you want to tell on your OKRs. So, and likewise, we're looking at the KR that's not doing too well. So I could go directly into the, and let me go to the details, not the reports. And here I have the associated initiatives, but I could be asking Sophia GPT. Let me go ahead and provide additional project initiatives to meet the key results metric. I just, again, part of the what else could I be doing in order to improve meeting the metric? And here is some additional project initiatives that I could be adding or starting in order to meet the key result that's off track. And again, it could be, this is what I mentioned earlier, it could be just a data quality issue that we haven't had a check-in, and we need to have our lead take care of it, here being Daniel Williams. So the next use case that I want to, before I go to the next, to ideation, I do want to highlight that new capability that I talked about in terms of corporate strategy. And here's a different perspective where I've included now all of the associated items to that key result. So instead of going to our visualizer view, our visualizer report, what we have here is really a hierarchy that reflects everything that's associated with meeting the key result and the objective. So it's interesting because now we saw in visualizer all those relationships, but here we see it in a list format. So we have the project, the epic, the product, the application, the value stream, the capabilities, all within our enterprise that we're managing that could be impacting the key results. So it's not only the projects and the epics. So it's a different perspective. And if we go to our improve IT infrastructure, we can open, we have the same 3 KRs, and under the KRs, you can see we have more projects involved, included as part of meeting the objective. So it's a slightly different perspective because now we have everything really that's related. So you can have a broader coverage of strategy execution by including, all the elements within the organization that will be impacting your strategy. So let's go to the next step. It was the second bubble within the within our SPM lifecycle. Let's talk about innovation. So within innovation, I'm going to go to my ideas. So OnePlan has an innovation portal, but within the ideas section for the PMO, they're all listed. There's a separate experience for just users that are inserting, creating ideas and then receiving feasibility based on how the idea evolves. And here this is really the ideation summary for the PMO, and what you should be having here is your business case in whatever form that is. We can expand, customize all of this content in order to reflect specific business cases. You can have workflow, basically have the idea go through a life cycle before it actually becomes a project. You could include resource planning here. We haven't, but this is just a simple template. But this can be all customized to reflect more sophisticated business cases. The point I want to make is that we can from here look at the prioritization. This view is actually showing alignment. In other words, how are these ideas aligned to our key results in order to drive strategy? How are they aligned to products, associated applications, and so on? And we have priority, we have budget and benefit, we have prioritization, and then the approval status, if some of them have been approved or not. So from here, I'm going to actually try to develop a story. So let's go ahead and use Sophia for our storytelling techniques. And so what I'm asking is, what are the summary insights on my ideas to be considered as candidates for project initiatives that add the most value to the organization? And I've asked, basically some analysis that I could have done on my own, but here I'm going to use Sophia GPT. So based on potential benefits, budget to benefit ratio, and strategic impact, I have a recommendation set on what I should be considering, with their prioritization score, which is something that we can use. So again, the use of Sophia GPT to actually get a summary story on what's going on with our ideas. Now, I did create a separate view just to highlight a grouping. Okay, so very simple. All I did was do a grouping by category, or I believe this is category, yes, by category. So then we see exactly where is the greatest weight of our ideas. And then you can see here that I've also added ROI. So whatever economic metric you have, you can include that. The point is that with very simple changes to a view, you can actually drive some focus on what's actually going on within, in this case, an ideation data set. We do have voting, by the way, in case you want to see who's voted the most for the ideas. But again, you're trying to incorporate as much relevant data as possible in order to make decisions on whether you're going to approve or not the actual idea. Where I want to go now, just a couple more things I want to show is this same ideation dashboard. If we were to take the same approach and try to actually look at all, we could take a different lens to it, and then use the ideas as a way to group different projects that are being considered. So here in this case, we're actually looking at ideas with group by project, epic, or application. So it's a slightly different perspective, because I'm now trying to see everything that fits within a specific idea type within the hierarchy. And same concept of cutting across the enterprise and seeing, okay, within this asset recovery, what is associated as a project or as an epic, and bring all the relevant data to me from those items. I'm going to show one more perspective here just to highlight that our new capability, but here's our products. So what we're showing here is the products together with all the projects, epics, ideas, and even key results or objectives that we have identified for the product. So and we could be looking at from a roadmap-ish type of view. We expose our Gantt and we see where we might be having where we might be having deliverables, okay, so that we can actually see that within the timeline. There's dependencies also, which are really important. You can actually measure those here. So again, all within a single view. And similarly, you could be including different data sets as part of the view in order to do analysis. Now, within, I stated earlier, we do have our Power BI reports, and you can use these, in order to tell your stories. Here, I'm going to focus on, let me focus on the state. I'm going to do active and proposed. And then from here, I can, discern, okay, which are the lowest priority projects with the highest cost. There's only seem to be really one that's fairly low here, business process automation. If I went back, let me go ahead and actually do active, and I can do one. So let me do active. Active, we can see here that one that we really need to reconsider, which is, we have a low prioritization score with a very high cost. Now, it might be that we have to do this because it's our main application, customer relationship manager, but there's some other ones here that we might want to consider not approving because they're, low prioritization. And on the other side, we have our highest prioritization, our cybersecurity audit, which is showing high prioritization and low benefits. The CRM is actually the one that we have to consider because actually we have benefits here. So that's really what we're reading here. The story that CRM is even though it has a low prioritization, it has huge benefits, so we have to consider it. But from here, even we could be using Sophia GPT, by the way. So it does actually work also with Power BI. It basically is reading from the screen, and but you can actually get output from Power BI within OnePlan. These Power BI reports are also available in Power BI, by the way, if you need to make them accessible to other folks in the organization. To conclude our webinar, what are some summary and next steps? Well, what I've tried to communicate is, data storytelling transforms PMO decision making and transparency. What you want to do is have rich visualizations, have a narrative to drive that stakeholder action. What's clear, I think from the experience of most of our customers, is there's not enough investment being done in data skills to ensure the strategic and value-driven PMO. We help you bridge that gap through OnePlan to manage your data and your SVM storytelling. So things that you could be doing: assess your current data storytelling capabilities, start integrating narrative-driven presentations in your portfolio management lifecycle. If I showed the SPM lifecycle, that's really where you have the ceremonies that are opportunities for you to deploy data storytelling. And one easy way is just start a OnePlan trial so you can begin your SPM storytelling journey. So for those that don't know us, we are a market leader in strategic portfolio management, recognized by Microsoft as Project and Portfolio Management Partner of the Year finalist, Gartner's Voice of the Customer, and Forrester's SPM Wave, and Infotech's top vendor ranking, and a number of other market recognitions for our solution. In terms of trials, what I showed you today was the strategic portfolio management template. We do have an adaptive one if you want to incorporate more agile work, and there's also some specific use case ones if you're interested in that. We offer a free OnePlan trial, a roadmap workshop, where we define, what it would really take to do an SPM initiative with OnePlan, and obviously a deep dive demo to try and identify a fit for your organization based on your requirements. Thank you for your time today. I have my contact information listed. If you're interested in having a conversation, please make contact, and we can engage you in improving your strategic portfolio management within your organization. Thanks again, and see you next time.